as Africa has long been a major target for a number of overseas nations and bodies due to being strategic, politically, and also possessing almost every mineral mankind has ever known about. The continent is attracting new foreign countries coming in to cooperate with a number of African countries in various sectors. The Western powers have been the key players in shaping the economies of African countries, but due to showcasing a neo-colonialism nature, where they are looked at as always wanting to be at the center of every economic and political matter in Africa, a number of African countries are looking for alternatives. We have seen President Ibrahim Troure vigorously changing everything in Burkina Faso in order to get the country out from its adversaries, mostly terrorism, which is linked to various groups of bodies. As the major alternatives are China and Russia, which are into numerous agreements with various African countries mainly concerning infrastructure development and military equipment supplies, there are also other new foreign countries coming in to show interest in working with a number of African governments. Among the newcomers is Iran. Iran is showing interest in working with a number of African countries, and among the lucky countries is Burkina Faso. I know you are focused on watching the video, but also sparing some precious time. Giving the video likes may seem simple, but it is a major thing you can give the channel. Just a little tap on the subscribe and like buttons is what the channel can get and become energetic. Thanks. Captain Ibrahim Troure, together with his colleagues, or call it cabinet, have been progressively developing stronger economic ties with Iran, another nation which isn't in good terms with Western powers. Burkina Faso's Prime Minister, Kailam Ditambala, together with Burkinabe Foreign Minister, Olivier Rouamba, being the representatives in realizing this cooperation, Burkina Faso signed a memorandum of understanding and 8 cooperation documents in various fields, including economy, construction, and exportation of goods. In a broader perspective, the two nations' cooperation circles the fields of labor and social support, employment and business development, education, scientific, technical and vocational training in the pharmaceutical, energy and mining fields, ecology and natural resources, as well as technology, urban planning, and construction. But why Iran is showing flexibility in working with Burkina Faso compared to other African countries, which may seem to be a risk. As I earlier said, Iran isn't in good terms with the West due to manufacturing nuclear weapons, which the West can't agree with a Middle East country, among other nations outside the so-called Western powers. Again, does Iran have the potential to be a reliable partner concerning numerous developments in Burkina Faso? Iran may seem not to be all over the media as among the world's superpowers, but that shouldn't fool you about this Middle East silent country. Every aspect of world-class technology is present in Iran, where Iranians manufacture everything they need from cars, trucks, computers, farm machinery, among others. In areas like missile technology, space program, and nuclear energy, Iran has an active space program and has successfully launched several satellites into orbit, plus also having domestic missile program and has produced a range of ballistic and cruise missiles, some with substantial ranges. The Iranian infrastructure with roads, railroads, and air transport is on an advanced scale, hence it has the needed capacity to do the same in Burkina Faso. Today, Iran has more than enough doctors and engineers and one of the best performing healthcare systems in the Middle East. Iran's leaders have stressed their ideological alignment with Sahelian leaders. The 3 leaders of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have taken concrete steps to distance their countries from colonial power France and from the United States, echoing Tehran's accusations that the Western powers are exploiting African and other global South populations for their self-interest. At the ceremony, to receive the credentials of the new ambassador of Burkina Faso to Iran, late President Raisi indirectly referenced the Israel-Hamas war as a point of unity between Tehran and Ouagadougou. Iran sought to convince Malian officials to view the Islamic Republic as a reliable partner in the struggle against Sunni jihadist groups that have committed many attacks in the country. Mali's defense minister, Colonel Sadio Camara, visited Iran reportedly to discuss the possible purchase of Iranian arms. As Iran is facing US-led sanctions, Iran's role as a supplier of sophisticated weaponry, particularly armed drones, is shifting to Africa as an alternative, especially to countries ditching the West like these three Sahel nations. Iran is expanding its relations with leaders in the Sahel to achieve several overlapping objectives. In 2023, late Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi visited Uganda, Zimbabwe, and Kenya and praised the resistance of African countries against colonization as a symbol of their awakening and vigilance. In a meeting between late President of Iran and Prime Minister of Burkina Faso, the Prime Minister referred to the Western media's attempt to present a false and distorted image of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Ibrahim Troure added, "Contrary to Western propaganda, Iran is an independent, developing and advanced country that adds to its attractiveness to develop and strengthen relations with it in all fields." The Prime Minister of Burkina Faso also emphasized his country's interest in expanding cooperation and interaction with the Islamic Republic of Iran in the fields of infrastructure, communications, mining, agriculture, animal husbandry, transportation, scientific and cultural, knowledge-based, and energy. The nations Ibrahim Troure, plus presidents of Mali and Niger are developing ties with, are known to be prominent military equipment manufacturers, which suits well with their goal of dealing with terrorist groups causing insecurity in the Sahel region of West Africa. Over the last decade, Iran's economy has successfully resisted sanctions in the sense of defying persistent predictions of impending economic collapse. Now, we are left with a question. How will Burkina Faso work successfully with nations facing sanctions? Including Russia, North Korea, China, Iran, and Turkey, all these nations are undoubtedly colliding with the West over certain circumstances mainly concerning security in their respective regions. But Captain Ibrahim Troure, together with his colleagues, seem unbothered working with these nations, which are looked at as the future allies of a number of African countries. These emerging leaders in Africa want a mutual benefit of the African minerals like gold, oil, diamond among others, which they feel have been being exploited without Africa benefiting from them that much. Accusing the West of supporting chaoses in regions rich in minerals is among the major issues Captain Ibrahim Troure and his counterparts are focusing on in order to move away from Western powers and find new allies like Iran, which are also known to be against the Western powers' interests. The ECOWAS has failed to deal properly with insurgency, plus corrupt and greedy leaders who are looked at as puppets by Captain Ibrahim Troure and his colleagues, who recently officially held their first convention of the Alliance of Sahel States, including Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. The issue of corruption, even before accusing the West, is severe in a number of African countries. Mismanagement of public funds by government officials is even more worse than the West's interests. A number of African leaders are putting much focus on staying in power than improving their countries for good. This has left a very serious gap in fighting insurgent groups which target mineral-rich regions in Africa. Captain Ibrahim Troure has so far proved the critics wrong, through the efforts he is putting in fighting insurgency, which is also linked to Western interests. In Kenya, we see the young generation tired of government officials who focus on borrowing money for their self-interests and, in turn, wanting the citizens to repay all the debts which have accumulated under misuse. We don't know how these new allies, like Iran, will behave in Africa, but at least we see that the citizens of Burkina Faso are feeling pretty relieved without the West, mostly France. What do you think about these new allies? Also, don't forget to think about thanking the channel through features, most especially super thanks down the video. A great thing the channel needs to grow significantly. As I earlier said, likes are even more crucial. Just a little tap on the like button means a lot to us.